Uhuru, everyone. Uhuru.
Uhuru.
Uhuru. Can everyone hear me? Uhuru, everybody. Uhuru. So Uhuru, it means freedom in Swahili, taken from the resistance of the Mau Mau in Kenya to British colonialism, and that became a Black Power slogan all over the world. So Uhuru. On behalf of the Black Power Blueprint Reparations campaign, I want to say welcome. My name is Jackson, here with the studio audience, and I will be your MC for this evening. This is the Black Power Blueprint Reparations campaign's first webinar called Reject Holiday Consumerism, Black Economic Development Through Reparations. Welcome. This campaign is led by Black Star Industries, the economic wing of the African People's Socialist Party, and the African People's Education and Defense Fund, or APEDF, an organization of the African People's Socialist Party. We are honored to be hosting Chairman Omali Yeshitela tonight, Chairman of the African People's Socialist Party and leader of the African Liberation and Anti-Colonialist Movement worldwide. It is also an honor to welcome Deputy Chair Onizine Yeshitela, Chair of Black Star Industries, and Chairwoman Penny Hess, Chairwoman of the African People's Solidarity Committee, who is here with me. So the white people you'll see in this webinar, myself included, are members of the African People's Solidarity Committee and Uhuru Solidarity Movement, organizations of white people formed by and working under the leadership of the party to organize white people like ourselves to raise reparations to African people. Black Star Industries is building economic development and commerce by, for, and between African people all over the world, and that's something that our speakers will be talking more about. The African People's Education and Defense Fund, APEDF, develops and institutionalizes programs to defend the human and civil rights of the African community and to address the grave disparities in education, healthcare, and the economic development faced by African people. The Black Power Blueprint is building Black Power institutions in St. Louis, where Mike Brown was murdered by Darren Wilson, and the Black community is assaulted daily through gentrification, police violence, forced impoverishment, and many other forms of oppression. Today is Giving Tuesday. We had a fantastic day of fundraising for Black Power Blueprint through APEDF. The APEDF website, apedf.org/donate. We raised $3,100 so far. So that's $3,100 so far. And tonight, we will raise another $900 at minimum to get an even $4,000 or more. So, thank you everyone again for joining this webinar on this very relevant topic. As we move through the program, please write your questions on a piece of paper. We will be having a question and answer period where you can ask them. So now, without further ado, I want to introduce our first speaker, Chairwoman of the African People's Solidarity Committee and author of Overturning the Culture of Violence, Chairwoman Penny Hess.
And I want to thank Jackson for that wonderful overview. I'm just so honored to be able to welcome Chairman Omali Yeshitela to this web conference tonight, under whose leadership I've had the honor of working for the last 41 years, and who is the chairman of the African People's Socialist Party, just giving leadership to the world revolution and to the liberation of African people here and around the world. I want to salute Deputy Chair Onizine Yeshitela, who leads the economic front of the African People's Socialist Party and who has done so much on so many fronts to give the leadership of the African working class in the struggle for economic and political power in the hands of African people. So I want to really thank everybody who's come on tonight and to say, to unite and saying what a great day we had today on Giving Tuesday. And I know so many people did a great job. I want to salute Comrade Star and Ruby, who helped make this happen, and also salute Comrade Valerie V. Rose on Facebook, who just, surpassed her goal of $500. So she's raised over $500 today. And I know Comrade Johan, who's here in the room, did an amazing job today as well, and so many others. So it was powerful. It was powerful to see the support for the Black Power industries and the right of African people to be free and liberated and self-governed and self-determining. So it's very, very, very powerful to be here. And this webinar, this web conference tonight is for all of you and all of us who are sick of the holiday consumerism and who are sick of these holidays that represent the culture of consumerism and the culture of violence, the colonial holidays that, you know, we just look at what we had to go through last week, that we're supposed to be thankful for the genocide of the indigenous people. We're supposed to eat ourselves to death or drink till we throw up and sit around with our family and usually get in a fight and be in all kinds of uncomfortable situations that we can't wait to get out of. And that while we're doing that, you know, while we're pretending to celebrate a holiday, we're actually commemorating the genocide of the indigenous people. We're celebrating the fact that we were part of giving the indigenous people smallpox infested blankets. We were part of seizing and kidnapping the children of indigenous people into what was called these boarding schools, of which 50%, half of all indigenous children taken away from their culture, from their parents, from their people, and put in what's called a boarding school, which is a colonial prison, did not come out. Were murdered, were sexually assaulted, were physically abused, and this was part of the genocide against the indigenous people. And we know, you know, that we are here today because this land was stolen from the indigenous people, and we sit on this land right now, but we know that the native people, the indigenous, and are the rightful owners of this land. They are fighting for their land to be returned, and that we support that. We do not support a holiday that represents murdering, rape, plunder, and the colonial domination of a whole people on their own land, and the call to exterminate indigenous people. And, you know, after we celebrate the what's called the Thanksgiving for genocide, then we're supposed to go out the next day, probably starting at midnight, and start shopping till we drop, after we've already eaten till we would throw up. And then, you know, we're supposed to go out and start shopping and spending millions of dollars. And it's such a big capitalist day that it is the first day of the whole year that retail stores actually make a profit and get out of the red and into the black, which is, you know, supposedly why they call it the Black Friday. So we're supposed to have an obligation to be good colonizers, to be good perpetrators of genocide, but going out and shopping. And, you know, we are rejecting that, and we're understanding that the only reason that we have the resources to spend billions of dollars every year in these stores, or even online increasingly, is because the economy of this country rests on stolen land, and it rests on the enslavement of African people. The assault by Europeans onto Africa, the kidnapping of African people, the turning of African human beings into commodities for sale that created the wealth and the enslavement of African people with incredible violence, so much violence that African people, in order to stay alive, ended up producing the greatest wealth that's ever been accumulated in the history of the planet Earth through this violence, through this reality. And that we know that today that these conditions continue, that colonialism exists inside this country, that indigenous people are forced onto concentration camps on their own land in the greatest poverty inside the US, the highest suicide rates, the destruction of their civilizations, of their culture, of their way of life, and the theft of their land. And that African people, we know, are being gunned down by the colonial police every single day in this country, every 18 hours. We see another police murder or violence against African people. We see the highest prison population in the entire world, in the colonial prison system, which is populated at least 50% by African people. Inside this country, we see poverty. We see, just every front in which African people are confronted by gentrification, colonialism, terror, and the murder and rape and plunder by the white colonial population. So, we understand that there's two Americas. There's the colonizer and the colonized. And I and we from the white population are members of the colonizer population. So we owe reparations to African people. We have a stake in giving up this culture of consumerism, which is in fact the culture of violence. We have a stake in unleashing and getting rid of our whiteness and jumping off this pedestal of the oppression of African people, indigenous people that has separated us from the people on the planet Earth and made us live in such an empty, horrible, hideous culture that's based on violence and murder and suffering for the majority of the people on the planet Earth, so that we can have a dream and aspiration that only comes at the expense of everybody else. We hate that. You hate that too. That's why you're here. That's why you're here. And there's an answer for that. And that is to jump off this pedestal, to stand in solidarity with the right of African people to be free and liberated, to have their land of Africa, for indigenous people to have their land right here of the Americas, for oppressed and colonized peoples around the world to have the return of their resources, that this system of white power must go. It must go. And that the whole struggle for the liberation of African people, led by the African People's Socialist Party, led by the movement of African workers here and around the world, is the movement to end a system of the oppressor and the oppressed, to be able to bring the world together so that the genius of the African working class can flower, can blossom, that this world and earth can be healed by a system that is for and led by the African working class, for all the people on the planet Earth, so that there can be a world without war, with a world that the animals, the environment, and all human beings can live and prosper. That's the world that I want to be part of. And I know if you're on this tonight that you want to be part of it too. So this is why that from the African People's Solidarity Committee, the organization of the African People's Socialist Party that works as Black Power and White Face inside the belly of the beast, that we are part of this committee called the Black Power Blueprint Reparations Campaign, that we support this program that we're going to hear a lot about tonight. We're going to see pictures of it. It's going to be very exciting. That comes out of Black Star Industries, the economic program of the African People's Socialist Party that is building the liberated economy of African people, that we can see the front in St. Louis where the members of Black Star Industries, led by Deputy Chair Onizane Shatella, under the leadership of Chairman Omali Shatella, have been buying properties in the African community, fighting gentrification in the most real way, and are in a process of renovating them, building an Uhuru house, building a community garden, building a One Africa, One Nation marketplace that's an incubator for jobs and for businesses in the hands of African people, and building a kitchen, an African community kitchen that will house a bakery, a cafe, and a program for African people coming out of the colonial prison system and back into a society controlled by and for African people. So I just want to, unite with our goal tonight to raise at least $900 more towards this. Overall, we're trying to raise $300,000. We're building this in increments. We're going to be fundraising, and we're going to be launching a GoFundMe on Friday, December 8th. We want you to join us. We're going to be live streaming throughout the day. Chairman Omali Shatella and others are going to be with us on that day. We're going to be able to talk to people. We want to raise a lot of money towards our $25,000 goal on the GoFundMe, which we know is possible because we have so many, a growing sense of a stand for reparations inside of the white community, white people who want to be on the forward side of history. So I'm very excited about this event tonight. I want to remind people to go to apedf.org/donate to be able to donate tonight towards the $900. I want to say uhuru and unity through
reparations. Thank you, Chairwoman Penny, for that powerful presentation on this culture in which we live and in which we participate. So thank you. As Chairwoman Penny said, colonialism exists inside this country. There are two Americas, colonizer and colonized. And as white people, like it or not, we're part of the colonizer nation. And we have an interest in overturning the system, and we owe reparations. And so as Chairwoman Penny said, December 8th, tune in, we'll be live streaming, set up your own fundraiser for APEDF and Black Power Blueprint. Tell your friends and family to go to apedf.org/donate. And remember to write down your questions and comments so you can ask them during the Q&A coming up. So now it is my absolute honor to introduce our keynote speaker, Chairman of the African People's Socialist Party, the political party of the African working class, which is leading the African liberation and anti-capitalist and anti-colonialist movement around the world, and author of An Uneasy Equilibrium, The African Revolution versus Parasitic Capitalism. My honor to introduce Chairman Omali Yeshitela.
Uhura, comrades. I really want to express my appreciation to the APSC and USM for doing the work to build this webinar today. And also, I am in St. Louis, and I'm in the company of some incredible forces, some members of the African People's Solidarity Committee, some members of the African People's Socialist Party, who are based here in St. Louis and who are playing an incredible role in helping us to build the Black Power Blueprint. And of course, I'm here with Deputy Chair Ona Zane Yeshitela, who is the leader of that project. So I want to express my appreciation to you, and I want to join you in making this assault on this insane consumerism that's associated with the holidays. Like I do, that during a period like this, there are going to be people who go so deep in debt that it will be the beginning of the next year, take at least a year for some people to get out of the debt that they're going to accumulate just in this process of doing Christmas. And most people, it will take at least 5 months to pay off the debt that they will accumulate during this process. And then there are all those people who, as a consequence of what this holiday is supposed to represent in terms of people in this artificial happiness where everybody gets together and they will be alone. They'll be alone because of the nature of the social system, the nature of the society that has atomized everything. And so many people don't have the ability to be with people in a real and meaningful way. It's the dollar and profit that stands between most relationships between human beings in the world today. So some of these people will get sick, and there will actually be an escalation of suicides, mental illness, all of that associated with this holiday thing, this period that is supposed to be so joyful. But I think that what is really important for us to understand is that there is a reason for that, and that has been inferred and sometimes explicitly stated by persons who have spoken up to now, Comrade Jackson, Comrade Chairwoman Penny Hess. And I think that that's something we should deal with. Because when we're talking about consumerism, we're talking about the holidays, it's an extraordinary thing to watch this situation where God has been put on sale. from the perspective of Christians who hold up Jesus as being the Son of God and what have you, to think about this holiday that is supposed to be in celebration of the birth of God. And what it is, of course, is the period where the capitalists are going to reap huge profits, and it's going to come at the expense of people. And that's natural. And the thing that makes it natural is the nature of the social system itself. And many people miss this. And this is one of the reasons the African People's Socialist Party and African internationalism are so important during this time, in the history, and during this period where we have to discuss this consumerism during the holiday. Because the fact is that societies are comprised of an economic basis, and that is how the society acquires what it needs to live, what it needs to survive. And of course, we know the society that we're talking about now, and this spreads throughout Europe, throughout the European world. It is a society that's based on slavery and colonialism. That's how it came into existence, and it continues to survive as a consequence of this original sin, as it was characterized by Karl Marx. So here you have a world where the whole economy of the planet Earth is organized around forcibly extracting value from people who are held in colonial bondage, for people who are held in slavery and near slavery. And that's one aspect of the society. But the other thing about that society that's crucial for us to understand is that from this economic basis, there also stems what is referred to as a superstructure. And the superstructure really reflects the ideas, the primary institutions, whether these are legal institutions, cultural institutions, or even religion and holidays, etc., express are expressions of a society that is based on looting, robbery, slavery, etc. So here you have this, and now you have these holy people, many of whom in this meeting probably remember that it was the Pope himself that divided the world in a fashion that gave Spain and Portugal the right to enslave African people in different areas of the world. And so it should be no surprise that the Pope would participate also in this process of putting God on sale in what they now refer to as Christmas, because that's exactly what they're doing. So when you talk about the ideas in the society, when you talk about Christmas, obviously it has nothing to do with this God that they're talking about. It has to do with what capitalism is about. And what capitalism is about profit. It is about profit above all. It is about profit before Jesus, before God, before anything else. And it is a capitalism, it's a social system that rests on the enslavement and colonization of most people on the planet Earth. So those are things that I think is really important for us to understand when we look at the question of Christmas. But I also think it's important for us to understand that Christmas and Thanksgiving, as is characterized, and various other kinds of holidays that owe their existence to Europe, through the Europe that was founded and consolidated off colonialism, off slavery, and what have you, that the other role that they play, and Christmas that they play, in addition to the profit, in addition to extracting tremendous amounts of value, is that they constitute a part of the method by which the nationalism is promoted, is created, and it is the thing that helps to give a sense of sameness to everybody who practices and participates in these holidays. So in addition to the lie about the Jesus and etc., it promotes the whole consolidation of a sense of sameness. So that you will find Christmas, find Father Christmas in Germany. You will find Black Pete or Schwarzer Pete in Holland. what have you, celebrating the same kind of process. And again, this is a process that owes its existence to looting above everything else, to slavery above everything else. And so it is natural. What we see in terms of the consumerism and what have you, it is natural. But it is really deep to see a population that would actually put its version of God on sale, and which is what you're looking at. And it's a statement that profit is more important than anything else in the world under such a social system. It is a system that is about extracting value without paying for it. And that is why also that we hate consumerism and will fight against it. But in a final analysis, the way we defeat consumerism is not simply protesting it, but by struggling against the social system itself. And if we recognize that the social system, capitalism, owes its existence to slavery and to colonialism, the way we fight against this consumerism is to participate in the liberation of the people. The capitalist social system, coming into existence as it does, having as its economic basis slavery and colonialism, also disguises its motives in so many instances. And it's really interesting to watch this popular expression of Santa Claus, of the holidays, and to recognize that what it does to disguise this process of colonial looting, and showing that somehow some fat white guy who's trimmed down considerably since white people become more health conscious, and he may be a vegan by now, but to showing how this fat white guy who lives in a place where it's literally too cold to work, and who produces nothing, but he has these people, these little people who produce all the value, and then they put them on these slaves that takes this value all around the world by magic reindeers who fly every place. And they deliver these goods to people who are good, and toys and what have you. People look forward and teach their children that this is what's happening. This is this part of what feeds the whole concept of Christmas and Christmas giving, etc. But what it does really is that it promotes the notion that somehow there's some mystery about where value comes from. It hides, it disguises the theft and looting of the peoples of the world, of Africa, of the people in Asia and every place else. It disguises the fact that capitalism has as its origin, not some gift from some fat white guy, not some gift by some white guy any place, but it has its origin in slavery and stealing resources, the destruction of the indigenous people, many indigenous peoples around the world. This is where it comes from. And so it cannot tell the truth. This is part of the superstructure of a social system based on slavery and based on colonialism. We see Santa Claus in South Africa. We see Santa Claus in Christmas with the same symbols and what have you in various other places on the African continent. And as I mentioned, part of what it does, this whole Santa Claus and all these holidays is create a sense of sameness. And while it does that among white people and Europeans, it creates a false consciousness in the oppressed as well. So you have Africans and other people in South Africa living on the most brutal kind of white nationalist tyranny, who are celebrating Santa Claus, who are celebrating the same Christmas as somebody who is receiving all that loot that's coming from South Africa and going to England and various other places. So we hate this blind consumerism, but more than that, we hate the social system that gave birth to it, because that social system came into existence at the expense of the freedom and the resources of African and other peoples around the world. Therefore, this is why everybody who must join in this process of building a Black Power blueprint, because this is the offensive against that blind consumerism. This is where your money ought to be going. Put it in the possession of the African people who've been victimized by Santa Claus victimized by the holidays, victimized by white people who blindly, in some near drunken stupor of having overeaten, bloated, and what have you, ignoring what's happened to the rest of the world. This is where the resources ought to be going, and I'm really happy to be here, part of this webinar, and I'm calling on everybody who is participating and who has access to this webinar to make the kinds of contributions that's needed for the Black Power Project, that's the Black Power Blueprint campaign that's going to be a major a weapon in the arsenal of liberation in this country and in the world. So we just want to say uhuru, down with blind, stupid, colonial consumerism, up with the liberation of the masses of the people, and certainly of African people in this country. We will win. We are winning. Uhuru.
Uhuru. Thank you, Chairman Omali Yeshitela of the African People's Socialist Party. Uhuru, Chairman, that was extremely powerful. With another hand in the studio audience and those watching online. We have well over 100 people watching, over 130 people watching. And so salute to everyone who's watching. Share, invite your friends. Share on your timelines, groups, message people. This is, as you can see, this is a very powerful webinar, and thank you, Chairman. As the Chairman said, join in this campaign. This is a weapon in the arsenal of the African liberation movement, and this system is a culture built off of slavery and thievery and genocide. And the holiday season promotes, the system of sameness that disguises that and twists that, and this terrible system disguising it as something that's to say that, oh, it's not a system of built on slavery and that Santa brings these things. No. So thank you, Chairman. Incredibly powerful, as I said, and remember to share and donate at apedf.org/donate. Get your questions ready for the upcoming Q&A. But first, it is, again, my honor to introduce our next speaker, the Deputy Chair of the African People's Socialist Party and the Chair of Black Star Industries, Deputy Chair Onazine Yeshitela, who will be introduced by a wonderful comrade of mine, a member of the African People's Solidarity Committee and an organizer in St. Louis, Casey Mackey. So here's the Deputy Chair, Onazine Yeshitela. Uhuru.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning into this amazing webinar. I'm so honored to be here alongside Chairman Omali Yeshitela and Deputy Chair Onazine Yeshitela. And I'm just going to ask the Deputy Chair a few questions about the Black Power Blueprint happening in St. Louis, which we are doing a fundraiser for here tonight when you donate at apedf.org/donate. So my first question is, what is your vision for the Black Power Blueprint? What's it all about?
Well, first of all, I just really want to appreciate APSC and USM for having this webinar tonight. I'm very excited to be here. And first and foremost, the Black Power Blueprint is about the people. It's about African people taking control and developing their own capacity to feed, clothe, and house themselves. So we're taking this on right now in St. Louis, Missouri. As you know, we have Uhuru houses in St. Petersburg, Florida, and Oakland, California. So right now we're here to build a Uhuru house right here in St. Louis.
Wow. What is your vision for the new Uhuru house? How many floors are there, and what will be on all the floors?
Well, right now we're in a renovation process. That's why we're having this webinar to raise the $300,000 we need to complete the Uhuru house. But on the first floor, we're going to have a Quaba Hall, which is an event space where you can come and have your birthday party, your wedding anniversary, any type of event that you can think of. We're going to be housing it down on the first floor. On the second floor, we're going to have our offices of the African People's Education and Defense Fund and Black Star Industries. And we are looking forward to bringing Black Power 96 to St. Louis. So we're going to have a space upstairs for Black Power 96 FM radio.
Yes!
And we're also going to have this is going to be the headquarters for the International People's Democratic Uhuru Movement. That's led by our president that lives here in St. Louis, Columbi Antoinette.
Who's in our studio audience tonight. Right on. That sounds amazing.
And we do have a third floor. And,
let's do that.
On the third floor right now, it's just a space that we're probably going to be utilizing to feed, clothe, and house our people.
Amazing. I wanted to ask, can you talk about the importance of affordable community centers for African people and for African culture?
Yes, I've been in St. Louis for about 4 months now, and one of the things that we have been trying to do is find affordable spaces here to even have events of our own. We had our International People's Democratic Movement conference here, and it was very, very difficult for us to, find a space in our community, so we did go to several places, the YMCA, which is right up the street from the Uhuru House, and it cost us thousands of dollars to rent that space for even one day. So the Uhuru House is going to serve the community and have affordable rental spaces for our people.
Yes. Amazing. Yeah, that's impossible for a community to afford $1,000. So this will finally be a space where people can express their culture, get together. There's so many things you can do with it. And so I understand that you're now partnering with the St. Louis Job Corps and a painters union. So can you speak more to that?
Yeah, we have what we call work days and the whole NTU Volunteer Brigade program that we started. And we actually Facebook our work days live. And we give the people the opportunity to participate and let them see what we're doing. So Job Corps actually seen us on Facebook, and they reached out to us and asked us, could they come down and visit to see what we were doing and to see how they could participate in helping this project. So Job Corps is a program for youth that are 16 to 25 years old.
Wow.
So they teach them how to be electricians, plumbers, how to hang drywall and all kind of carpentry trades. So they came down, saw our project, loved it, and now they're going to come and help us facilitate us and helping us to build the Uhuru House. So I'm really excited about that.
Wow.
And we reached out to the Painters Union, and they came down as well, and they were very excited about participating and helping us to build this African economy, and this community back to the stature that it should be.
Wow, that's amazing, because you're providing jobs, but jobs where they're building a building that will come back to them, that they get to have a vision in and they get to be a part of.
Right.
So,
and I just want to say with Job Corps, the African students that are in apprenticeship, they're actually getting paid through Job Corps.
wow.
So it's really powerful.
That's amazing. Yes. So I understand, so that's the amazing Uhuru House. I understand that there's 2 buildings across the street that will be demolished to build an outdoor venue. What's that going to be used for?
Yes, right across the street, we have acquired 2 commercial buildings and 2 commercial lots. So the 2 commercial buildings we're going to demolish and make the One Africa, One Nation marketplace. And that's where Africans who have goods and services that they make, or however they acquire them, can come and vend. So they can be able to sell their communities and keep commerce in the community instead of, you have people come into our community and build businesses, and then they take those resources out of the community. But this marketplace is for African people to come and vend and sell their communities to African people.
And a community garden too, right?
Right. We're also going to be doing a community garden next to one of the buildings.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be called the Gary Brooks Community Garden.
Wow.
And it's because one of the, Gary Brooks is an African man who's been in St. Louis for a very long time. And he lives right next door to the lot. And he has already started a community garden there. So we just wanted to continue that and name it after him, and just keep his name as part of this community.
Wow, amazing. And I know that there's also the Uhuru Jiko Kitchen, and that's really important, and the African Independence Workforce Program. Can you talk more about those?
Yes, the African People's Education and Defense Fund has a Jiko kitchen, and Jiko is a Swahili word for a kitchen. And we have one actually in St. Petersburg, Florida now, and we want to build one here. We want to build a commercial kitchen and a bakery and cafe on it's Goodfellow Boulevard and Natural Bridge here in St. Louis. And what we want to do also is to bring a program called the African Independence Workforce Program that targets African men and women who have been incarcerated in the prison system, help them to come out of prison, be able to get jobs, go through the interview process, and learn the food industry. So that's what we plan on doing.
That's amazing, especially because usually when Africans come out of prison, they have no options. They have to mark that they've committed a felony, and then their application gets thrown out. But this is totally different. This is actually providing them a future and seeing them as a human and making sure that they have what they need to re-enter society and be a part of a liberated African future. Right. So I think that's really amazing.
Yeah, it's like when you come out of prison, like you said, you go and you apply for a job, and it's like double jeopardy. You've done your time, and then you come out and you still can't get a job. But we say that that's not going to happen to our people here. We're going to really build this program so they can see a future for their kids and their grandkids.
Wow. And the last thing I want to say, probably maybe the most important question, is going back to what you said at the beginning, how this is about the people. Can you talk about the relationships you built with the local community and the impact that has already started to take place?
Yeah, we have really been engrossed in the community, really trying to bring people into this project. And some of the relationships we have built. Let me just say first is that everything that has happened at the Uhuru House have been under African and Mexican and indigenous tradesmen. We have hired all African, Mexican, and tradesmen to build this Uhuru House because we know how important that is. We've also connected, like I said, with Job Corps, Ron Jones, and Legina Smith are the people at Job Corps. We have built relationships with electricians. The electrician who is actually over our project, his name is Jason Pye, who is an African man who has his own electrical company, and he has maybe 3 or 4 other African workers that work with him. We've also built relationships with Donnie McFadden, who is a contractor here, who actually saved us like $4,000 on putting on a new roof. We built like so many numbers of relationships that I can't even, tell you now, but we'll continue to be out in the community and making sure that, we connect with the people and also we've been involved in the O'Fallon Neighborhood Associations and the Kings Highway Association. Have met George Jones Jr., who is very known in the community, who has really given me a wealth of information and contacts for me to build that bridge.
Wow. Yeah. Shout out Jason Pye.
Yes.
Danny McFadden.
Yes.
George Jones Jr., Columbai Antoinette. Yes. Naila. Just all these, Black community leaders that are in the community of St. Louis that have a stake in what happens here, that are really having sharing the vision for this project. I think it's so amazing.
Yes. Yes.
So thank you so much, Deputy Chair Onazane Yeshitela,
Thank you.
for answering these questions for the people. This is where your money is going tonight. We're in need of these resources for these things to happen. So my name is Casey Mackey, and the reason I'm here is because I'm a member of the African People's Solidarity Committee, and I'm building a culture of reparations in St. Louis for the white community to raise the resources that we have in our community that we usually spend tons of money on Christmas gifts and lavish things. You know, we have what we need to feed, clothe, and house ourselves, but African people whose resources are being stolen don't. So it's because they're in our community. So reparations, that's why we say unity through reparations and getting these resources to support African self-determination. I really want to thank, first of all, Chairman Omali Yeshitela for the visionary leadership that he has and the future that he and all the Black Power leaders that he's inspired, all these young people that are coming into this movement that he has inspired, you know, this future that they've made possible for the entire planet. I also want to thank, again, Deputy Chair Onazane Yeshitela, who is the architect of the Black Power Blueprint and whose devotion to the liberation of her people is so profound. And I also want to thank the speaker before this, Chairwoman Penny Hess, who for 41 years has been carrying out the mission of winning other white people to the question of supporting African self-determination through reparations, and is a role model for all of us white people that want to take up this mission as our own. And before I continue, I just want to say that when I first found this movement, about the hope that filled me, way more than any kind of Christmas hope that's out there. Just all my life, I wondered how this world got to be so violent. And then when I realized that colonialism, what the chairman was talking about, living in a society built on slavery and genocide, that's the root issue, it made so much sense. And then when I realized, it made sense that justice for the Black community is the way forward, because it was the war on the Black community that was the template for the war on everybody else. So there can be no unity without justice, and there can be no justice without reparations to the Black community. And I remember watching a speech from the chair of the Uhuru Solidarity Movement when I first joined, Jesse Neville, who said that white people should make our lives about reparations and solidarity with Black power. And I was like, why haven't I heard this before? This is where I gotta be. And that really won me over. But what also won me over was the institutions and Black Star Industries, and seeing real solutions being put forward in a strategic way to overturn this, what seems like just it's a mantra system that we're up against, but these are real solutions that are building dual and contending power against them. And when I first joined, for instance, Black Power 96.3, the radio station that's based in St. Pete, but is also coming to St. Louis and is going to spread all over, and is an app you can get on your phone, that was just an idea. And now it's real, and it's building community. It's allowing for the people to have a voice. It's the voice of the African working class that's broadcast all around the world, their own stories and their own voice on their own terms. I can literally listen to what my reparations went to. And the same is true of the Black Power Blueprint, that these things were just ideas, and now they're buildings under construction, and soon they will be functioning institutions that the community can be a part of. And, just 2 months ago, I was in St. Louis for one of the conventions of the movement, and the Uhuru House, it had no real floor. The basement, we couldn't even go down. It was like too dangerous. And now, there's flooring, there's bricks on the wall, there's lighting. The basement has a lot of work to do, but you can go down and see the space that it can become. And that's just been 2 months. So imagine what it can be 2 months from now with your donations to the African People's Education and Defense Fund, partnering with Black Star Industries to make this happen. So I want to show some pictures that I might be a little bit of the layout was changed by the host. Great. So these pictures are of the volunteer work days at the Uhuru House. And you can see the community coming together to put this house together. You have people laying the bricks. You have North Americans. White people are in a severe crisis right now, where we are killing ourselves at higher rates than ever. We are suffering from drug addiction, it's because we see no future in a social system built on slavery. But with the Black Power blueprint and with this bright future that African people are building, that the Uhuru movement is building, we see that we can be a part of that. And the way we do that is reparations. So here you see that this is a community center, a community center that the community is in dire need of, that, where there's, in the Black community, you only see bars and clubs and, things that lead to the destruction of the community. And this is going to reverse that and uplift it. You also see gentrification, and this is going to combat that, because these are buildings in the hands of the people. See, you have this little white boy like excited that he can be a part of building this house. And then you have African girls whose self-esteem is constantly being assaulted, that can be part of a house that's for and by them. So you see them lifting bricks, giving each other high fives. This is real community building right here. This is where the money's going. And you can see there's a lot of work to do. The HVAC unit, just all those things that we need. And there's everybody after a volunteer work day. So, this is what we're raising money for. So it's clear that when we're talking about rejecting consumerism and uniting with reparations, we're talking about a concrete rejection of a society built on slavery, and where, white people acquire what we have at the expense of the rest of the world. On the other hand, it's unity with an economy built on liberation and freedom of African people, and as a consequence, freedom of the world. And that's the Black Power blueprint in St. Louis. And I'm very lucky to live in the city now, witness firsthand this transformation. And I want to add that anyone listening can contribute to this, anyone listening, because everyone has an interest in investing in Black Power. But I'm calling specifically on white people to pay reparations to this and to reject our consumerist culture. Because think about the holidays, we travel across the country, we're getting used to getting all these kinds of expensive gifts. As children, we grow up and we get all these toys. And how long do we even use them? A lot of it just ends up in a landfill. And this is based on a life on the pedestal of the oppression of African people. So there are, like Penny said, there are two Americas and two realities. And ever since slavery, African families have been ripped apart. So many African families can't even come together as a whole to celebrate holidays because their brothers and their sisters and their husbands and their cousins have been murdered by the police, or they're locked up in these prisons. And this is happening in our name as white people, but no more. We can take a positive stand against this. The Black Power Blueprint is a brilliant strategy to end the police murder that keeps African families broken up. Chairman Omali Yeshitela and the deputy chair have put forward brilliantly that the political and economic are one, that in response to the police murders in the African community, Chairman Omali has raised the question of economic development as the solution, and that economic development for the Black community is not about ideas, it is on the ground affecting lives. It is physical work. And like one of the volunteers and one of the leaders in the Black Power Blueprint, Tacharwa, said, it's not just about workers renovating buildings, it's about the African working class reclaiming the value of their labor and producing an independent economy that will allow them to forward the liberation of African people worldwide, to be free from the worst social system in the history of humanity. And that is a gift to humanity. So I really want to salute some of the comrades and supporters and family out there that have raised money for the African People's Education and Defense Fund today, which Valerie raised over $500 just on her Facebook fundraiser. Valerie. Comrade Johan raised $200, and Virginia raised $200, and my sister donated $50. So, and I said, instead of giving me a Christmas gift, this is what I want for Christmas. I want the Black community to have justice. I want reparations to be real. And because this is where our future lies. So I want to say first, before I call on resources, that we do have another GoFundMe launching on December 8th for the Black Power Blueprint with a goal of $25,000. There's going to be tons of live streams for that every Friday. We want to raise we need lots of money for these projects to happen. So we're also encouraging everyone to commit to raising resources from friends and family during December in place of presents. So keep an eye for this GoFundMe on December 8th. And when your mom asks you, what do you want for Christmas? Just send her that GoFundMe link and say, just donate to this, donate to a real future for African people and for the world. And now for this webinar, right now we have a goal of $1,000. So we're calling on all attendees to make a contribution tonight at apedf.org/donate. And your donation could be one time or you can make it monthly. And it does it automatically, but please make sure that when it says where it goes, to make sure it's to the St. Louis projects. So that's what we're asking our audience tonight. We really appreciate everybody who's here and for sharing the video, and for everyone that's donated to all the fundraisers on Facebook today for #GivingTuesday, where some of those donations were matched. I just want to say again that just today alone, through this Giving Tuesday, when all of our supporters, all the supporters of the Black Power Blueprint putting this out there, raised $3,100. Let's get it to 4,000 tonight, above 4,000 if we can. And yes, thank you again for this amazing presentation. Salute again, Chairman Omali Yeshitela, Deputy Chair Onezene Yeshitela, the Black Power Blueprint, the Black community of St. Louis, and everyone who's watching. Uhuru.
All right, there we are. Uhuru, everyone. Uhuru. So salute to all our amazing speakers. Salute to everyone who is contributing. Please comment with how much you are pledging. Please comment below with if you're able to hold a fundraiser in December and how much you hope to raise. Please comment to let us know how much you're giving for this, amazing program of the Black Power Blueprint. And remember, apedf.org/donate, and comment below when you have contributed your donation or paid your reparations. Excuse me. So next we will be having our question and answer period, and Chairwoman Penny will be fielding your questions. So please comment below with your questions, with comments you want to share. Oh, wonderful. We're seeing your comments. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Lisa Watson. And so without further ado, I'll turn it over to Chairwoman Penny. We have someone who will let us know how much the total is raised tonight for our goal of $1,000. If everyone who is watching contributed $10, we would surpass our goal. So please do whatever you can and contribute to our goal tonight. Uhuru.
Uhuru, wow. I just want to have another round of applause for Chairman Omali Yeshitela. That was so powerful. Deputy Chair Onezene Yeshitela, that was so visionary and powerful to see coming to life, this Black Power Blueprint. I want to salute Comrade KC, and I also want to salute Kitty Riley, our comrade from APSC, who is out in St. Louis working on the projects directly under Deputy Chair's leadership, and who's been out there for several months. I want to salute you. And I want to say that on the APEDF site, we have $50 that has come in through Comrade Ruby. We have $100 that's come in from Allie. We have $25 from, I think, from KC on the, but let me just explain. Please put what you're going to do in the chat. Please put what you're going to do in the chat, and then we can see that and we can add it up and we'll hold you accountable. But you can go to apedf.org/donate to give tonight, but let us know. It's easier if you let us know in the chat. We have in the chat also $50 pledged from David in Boston and $50 from Lisa Watson. And I want to say that I am going to put in $50 tonight.
Yeah.
So we're getting up there, and Comrade Renee is going to give us a total. I wanted to open it up to Chairman Omali Yeshitela and Deputy Chair Ona Zanea Shatella for questions, for comments that you might have. You can put them in the chat. We can see it. And the chairman and deputy chair would be glad to answer your questions. And we can, we can have a little discussion. Sam Day is doing $20. Uhuru. Comrade Johan is doing $20 tonight. And can you explain what we as white people can do to overturn colonialism and how we can get other white people to join us? Thank you. Well, I just want to say that the Uhuru Solidarity Movement just sponsored an amazing tour called The Days in Solidarity with African People. I'm interrupting to say Evan Garner, and is that in Brooklyn, has given $50. And there was another one that I didn't see fast enough.
Roger Clendenning.
Oh, Roger Clendenning has given 20? 50. But I think Renee is working on adding this up. So we'll be able to say the names and thank people. But we have the Uhuru Solidarity Movement under the leadership of the African People's Socialist Party that has been organizing. And we just had a 6-city tour to Boston, to Brooklyn, to Philadelphia, to Gainesville, Florida, to St. Petersburg, Florida, and Huntsville and Oakland, and just everywhere we met other white people who want to join this movement for white reparations to African people through unity through reparations. And it's powerful, it's growing, it's becoming the norm that white people want to be on the forward side of history under the leadership of the African Revolution, a future for all of humanity with the leadership and genius of the African working class at the helm of a world in which all human beings can live, nobody at the expense of anybody else. I know we have some more. Do you have an update? I saw some go by really fast. Okay, we're at 595. Can we thank everybody who's given?
We have
Kara.
Kitty.
Well, could you say how much?
Kara contributed 25.
25 from Kara out in Oakland. Want to say Uhuru?
Kitty, 50.
Kitty, 50 in St. Louis. Uhuru Kitty.
Virginia, 10.
Virginia, 10.
Evan,
Which he's in
Kentucky.
southern Indiana.
Oh, Indiana.
Evan Garner.
Evan Garner.
50.
I think I said Evan.
Okay.
Really
Paul.
appreciate
Paula
them.
gave 20.
Paula, 20.
We have a question.
And Amanda gave 10.
Amanda,
Janice.
10.
Janice,
Janice Camp, 25.
Janet,
Janet Calcaterra from Boston, $10. All right, so if we can have a total, it'll be good to see.
640.
640, all right, and that includes the early donation. Okay, is there a Uhuru House based here in Washington, D.C.? Deputy Chair or Chairman?
What's the
This is
question?
a question from Ricky Cherry. Is there a Uhuru House based here in Washington, D.C.?
Not yet.
No, we don't have an Uhuru House there yet, but we have some very hardworking and dedicated members of the African People's Socialist Party who are there. And because of that, we're only one step away. So if you're in Washington, D.C., just get in touch with us and we can connect you with the comrades who are working to build there in Washington, D.C.
Uhuru, any other questions or discussions? Anything from, what is your assessment of the alt-right? How serious is a threat is this political ideological tendency? From Adam Minsky.
Well, from our perspective, the real threat is the disorganization of people like Alan or Adam, and that just the ordinary democratic colonialism has been giving us hell all this time, and we recognize that this this so-called alt-right is out there. But the crisis that we see happening in this social system shows us that the real power is in the possession of the people. If we would but organize it, and if we would build what we are supposed to build. The alt-right right now appears to be concentrated essentially in the Republican Party. The Republican Party, like the Democratic Party, they are in a state of terrible crisis, and the alt-right is itself evidence of a crisis of the social system. This webinar and the kind of work that we do give all of us an opportunity to be organized, and we can go ahead and make the alt-right and all of the other rights and lefts and what have you that participate in exploiting and oppressing people, we can make them disappear. The real question is us.
Uhuru, I really appreciate that, and the powerful understanding that colonialism has always been here. And the question, the analysis that the chairman has, that what's called fascism for white people is when the conditions might a little bit approximate what Africans have gone through in colonialism for the past 600 years.
Right.
And I appreciate that and this discussion. And do we have a new total on
650.
650? Okay, we're at 650. So we want to get to 900. So we just need $250 more. We just need $250 more. We can do this. We can do this. So I have a question here. Have there been any positive changes in policing in St. Louis since 2014?
The answer is no. There has not been any. There hasn't even been a demand for positive change in policing that's coming from most of the people who consider themselves protesters and what have you. And that's been one of the difficulties that we've been confronted with here. But so the answer is no. It's in many ways it's getting worse. In fact, the police just got a massive raise. It was voted, the police to give a Proposition P that gave the police a massive raise. And this is during a period where the police have been condemned by in some quarters for actually brutalizing protesters and chanting while doing so, whose streets, our streets. So no, there has been nothing positive that's happened since then. But I do want to, if I may, just comment on this alt-right thing. It's not that we don't take it seriously. We take it very seriously. But the problem that we have is that most people who talk to us about alt-right and about fascism are really expressing fears that deep down resides inside the white community. And the fact is that we've gone through and seen throughout history this whole struggle against fascism. We've seen the anti-fascist French who fought against the Nazis. We've seen anti-fascists United States who fought against the Nazis. We've seen all these expressions of anti-fascism on the one hand, but even as the French did that, they were colonizing people in Vietnam and all over Africa, in Algeria and other places. And the same thing has been true inside the United States. So fascism is something that's really important to white people. And some Africans who picked up on that, who have such a deep identity and cannot see a life separate from white people, and colonialism have done the same thing. But the point is that we can't make a distinction between democratic colonialism and fascist colonialism. You colonize, and that's what we have to deal with.
Uhuru, thank you, Chairman. And I just wanted to mention that I saw on some online news today that an African man was shot and a child shot by the police in North St. Louis today. And I wanted to say that we have $50 from Comrade Bobby Wittenberg. We want to thank you for that. And that puts us at 700. So we only need $200 more to make our goal tonight. And wow, what a victory. Really appreciate everybody who's taken a stand for reparations to African people and contributed to the Black Power Blueprint. Wow, Ann Hirsch, $40. Uhuru. Uhuru. Awesome. So we're at 740?
740.
740. So you just need $160 more. That's so simple.
Mhm.
You need to, yeah, 16 people could give 10, or somebody could just give the whole 160 and we can be done with it.
Yes.
So, Chairman, Deputy Chair, any final comments? Any other statements that you would like to make to this? We've had over 100 people here tonight. At our top, we had 130 people on the line, and it's very powerful. Really appreciate what a dynamic program and all the people who have come to participate in this and who have given tonight, Chairman, Deputy Chair.
I just want to express my appreciation to the Uhuru Solidarity Movement and APSC, African People's Solidarity Committee, for this incredibly significant webinar and for the work that's being done to support the Black Power Blueprint, because even your existence is a part of the Black Power Blueprint. And I want to say that that all oppression and exploitation in the world rest upon the pedestal of the enslavement and colonization of African people. When we contribute to making the Uhuru House and the Black Power Blueprint here in St. Louis successful, we contribute to owning the exploitation and oppression of all the people. So it's not some charity that's being done for African people. But I do appreciate the fact that some of you are conscious of the need and the brutality that is occurring in your name against Africans and other people around the world. There was a time when what was characterized as utopian socialists had come together and tried to make capitalism something that was more beneficent and actually something that could be nice. And that still happens today. I heard Bernie Sanders doing something like that not too long ago. But you had people like Charles Dickens with his Christmas Carol and created the character of Scrooge. And Dickens was one of those utopian socialists. He was somebody who thought we can just win the capitalist class to just being nicer. And you remember Scrooge, the capitalist who hated Christmas. And this was part of the process also of making Christmas look like what it does look like today, gift giving and everybody being nice to each other. And so capitalist was a bah humbug kind of guy, Scrooge was, and even be beneficent, but it cannot be. And even Tiny Tim and Bob Cratchit, whatever his name was, being exploited by Scrooge, had the benefit of the enslaved Africans and other oppressed peoples around the world who didn't live half as well as they were living. So this is a splendid opportunity that the fact is that capitalism is rotten. Everything it produces is rotten. And we want everybody to join with us in taking this stand to oppose capitalism, exploitation, and the oppression of the peoples of the world. And we have the blueprint. Uhuru.
Uhuru, I just want to say, really want to thank the people on the ground, especially people that are associated with the Black Power Blueprint here in St. Louis. From my office, we have Tachara, Kake, who is the assistant general contractor, Kofi, Foot, President Columbia, I can't even express it. Brandy, Zion. I also wanted to express my real deep appreciation to Comrade Steve Riley, who was down there on the ground. Makeba, Naila, Maisha, Sarah, who has done a remarkable job with the kids, the Marcus Garvey kids, Sarah, Renaya, Casey, who just came down here, been here 5 days and already making a difference here in St. Louis.
Tiffany.
Tiffany.
Oh, yes.
Tiffany. I want to express my appreciation to Kyle and Jenna for coming here from St. Petersburg and doing video for the Black Power Blueprint back in September. You're going to be seeing that video express itself very soon through our GoFundMe, as well as through other memes and videos that we're going to be putting out around the Black Power Blueprint.
No,
Tupe,
but also used to be Denise.
Jaraja.
Yeah.
And Tupe, who has provided a venue for us to have our weekly Sunday rallies.
Uhuru, thank you. Thank you so much. And I just want to say that we have another donation of 100 reparations from Rosie Watson. Related to Lisa Watson.
Related to
About 5 or 4. So I want to say uhuru to her. So we just need $60 more to meet our goal. That's all, $60. I mean, what is that, about 5 lattes from Starbucks? No, that's part of the culture of violence and consumerism. Let's turn it over. Let's turn over the reparations. We just need $60 more. Go to apedf.org/donate and let us know on the chat here before we close out. And I want to thank everybody for coming out. I want to thank Chairman Amalia Ishitella again. Deputy Chair Onizane Ishitella for the Comrade KC, Comrade Jackson.
I'm going to do 25 more, so 50
All
total.
right.
So we just need 35 more.
35 more, and Jesse's.
I just did 35 more.
Excellent.
Can they hear me? Yep. Jesse is giving 15 in reparations. So I don't know. Lost count now, but I think we're over this. $8.90.
$10.
$8.90. Oh yeah. Okay. So we just need $10 more. Okay.
I can just.
We got it.
No, we
You got it. All right.
Reparations.
Oh, and Nico.
And Nico was it. All right.
yeah.
Awesome.
So what's the total?
We're just calculating the total here.
9:15.
9:15.
All
And
right.
that's about what time it is too over here. So we're gonna have to get off the air, but we just really appreciate the tremendous participation, all the people who came in, all the people who did the work to get the word out on this. We're gonna have an amazing Black Power Blueprint reparations campaign. We're gonna raise $300,000 overall, and we're just gonna keep going, turning it over to the struggle for the liberation of Africa and African people everywhere, and end to this horrible white power system. Uhuru and unity through reparations.
Uhuru, uhuru. Thank you, Chairwoman Penny. Uhuru.
Thank Kunde, who just donated $20.
All right.
Thank you, Kunde. People's Socialist Party. Uhuru. Thank you, Kunde Mambita. Thank you, Chairman Amalia Ishitella, and Deputy Chair Onizane Ishitella, to Casey and Kyle and all and everyone who has Kitty Riley, Virginia, Connor Voss, Uhuru in New York, who helped to put this all together technologically. Really salute to you for this beautiful webinar. And thank you for everyone who joined us for Reject Holiday Consumerism, Black Economic Development Through Reparations, hosted by the Black Power Blueprint Reparations Campaign. Thank you to everyone who contributed. Giving Tuesday is not over yet. You can still, inform your friends, family, dig deeper in your own pockets, share all over your timelines and on Twitters and everywhere, social media, Instagram.
And out in California, it's only 6:20. You have
more time.
Almost 6 hours till midnight. So keep giving that.
Yes, all our West Coast followers and friends and supporters and members, Uhuru. So we have raised total Giving Tuesday so far $4,015. So that's an incredible victory. Uhuru.
All right.
Uhuru. Thank you, everyone. And please, as I said, continue to share with friends and family. And of course, as mentioned previously, we will be launching the Black Power Blueprint Reparations campaign. We'll be launching the GoFundMe on Friday, December 8th with live videos. The Chairman Amalia Chatello will be on it. So definitely tune in, and there'll be live videos throughout the day at various periods. So please share, invite friends and family, help raise reparations to African people for economic development, self-determination. We got another 30. All right.
Another 35.
So that's 965.
All right, 965.
Jenier Loris, $30. All right. Wow.
From Boston.
Wow.
Excellent. A huge victory. And continue to share this video, message people. But yeah, GoFundMe, December 8th, Friday. And hold your own fundraisers. It's really easy to make a fundraiser on Facebook. It walks you through it to APEDF, African People Education and Defense Fund, African People's Education and Defense Fund. Also apedf.org/donations. Donate. apedf.org/donate. So thank you, Chairman Amalia Chatello, without whose vision we wouldn't be here today. Thank you, Deputy Chair Ona Zane Chatello, for your incredible leadership and work. Thank you, Chairman Penny Hess, for setting the example, as mentioned by Casey, of what it means to be white solidarity with Black Power. Thank you, Casey Mackey, for leading us through that incredible appeal for resources. Again, thank you everyone for tuning in, for your reparations pledges, for your questions, for sharing this video. And thank you, everyone. Unity through reparations. Reparations now. Reparations now. Uhuru.
Uhuru.
Thank you, everyone.